Welcome into the In the Money podcast for Thursday, April 26th, the penultimate day of racing at the spring meet. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Advanced Wagering, and we are going to take a look at the late pick four, which starts with 2-year-old fillies. Then you've got an allowance race on the turf at 1 1/8 miles for 3-year-old fillies. You've got one at the end of the card, maiden 3-year-old boys going 1 3/16 miles on the turf, and in between, 3-year-olds maiden claimers, high-level maiden claimers, going 7 furlongs. So some interesting handicapping challenges there. Let's start in the 6th, Jim, with those 2-year-olds. It's good that that's the start of the pick four, gives you a chance to see a little bit of the money. I suspect it'll mostly go on Wesley Ward.
One would think, yeah. I'm glad that Ben does this. I mean, we try to put the races at the beginning of the pick four where you do get some idea of where the money goes. And I would imagine Moonlight Romance, the 2, and Shang, the 8, are going to vie for a favoritism here. I didn't go just those 2. I went to Painter Maniac, a horse that was bred by Bob Baffert, and it's like John Ennis, a very obscure trainer, works horses like Bob Baffert. First of 86 and a 47-1 gate work on April 6th. So if that horse is that quick, that would probably put him in the mix here, or probably put her in the mix. Also used Devious Charm for Mark Cassie, a first-time starter for Lannery on the outside, and Giro Kate, a horse that ran well here, almost won at 25-1 on opening Sunday for Eric Foster, and Alvarado takes the mount back. So she ran really well out of the one hole and came almost won the race at 25-1. So I'm going to use 5 there. In the second leg, in the 7th race, the turf allowance, that's a tough one. I like 5 horses here as well. I like Hayworth, the 2 for Mark Cassie. Cash Out for Rusty Arnold would probably be my top choice off 3 straight stakes races. And she also raced the Jessamine here last year and caught a soft turf, which she may catch on Thursday because we're getting a lot of rain as we record this. So Starving Artist for Joe Sharp obviously fits. Romantic Moment for Shug McGahee, and Drinks on Me for Jimmy Graham on the outside, the seven hole. So I could make a case for all 5 of those. So I'm going to go deep and deep. So I'm going to use 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Then I'm going to take in the 8th race. I'm also going to go a little deep. That's a tough race as well. And I'm going to go all outside there. First Recruit, the 8 for Ben Colebrook. What else I got to do for Robert O'Connor, who takes over from Merrill Share and catches Giroux, who's probably going to win the rider title, and Sparticle, the 10 for Michael Stidham. So I'm going to use 8, 9, 10 there, 3 horses. 9th race, I'm going to hope that one of the also eligibles draws in, either CC Rider, the 11, or Say the Word, the 12. If they do, I'm only going to use 2 horses, whoever draws in among those 2, and Lascaux for Rusty Arnold from the inside in the 2 hole. So I'm going to use 2 and 11 or 2 and 12. And I think that's 2, 6, 8, 10, 11 with 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 with 8, 9, 10 with 2 and one of the also eligibles. If they don't get in, I'll just single the 2 horse. That's a $75 ticket if you use 2 in the last leg.
I am going to go with 3 of the babies in the 6th race. Moonlight Romance with the Ward Rosario combo. And it's from the Ken Ramsey stable, too. And I don't recall the Ramseys debuting a lot of 2-year-olds, so I thought that was noteworthy. So I like Moonlight Romance to win it, but I want to use Giro Kate off that strong race that you mentioned, and the 11 Devious Charm with a 35-2 work on the 20th of April for Cassie. Although his 2-year-olds have not set the world on fire yet. They haven't run poorly. I think they'll be horses that will run better second and third time out, so you want to watch them running back. But just that strong work, I'm going to include this one as well. Painter Maniac was the other one I had listed off those sizzling works, but I'm just going to go 3 deep there because I want to go 5 deep in the next leg. I think Cash Out has a big class edge, but I'm a little leery of just those declining buyer figures this year. So I'm going to add some others in here. Starving Artist is going to be my win pick in this race. Much improved in 2 starts this year for Joe Sharp. And that race on the 17th at the Fairgrounds was an easy win, 17th of February. And she beat Cloak of Secrecy, who came back and ran really well here last week. So Starving Artist is my win pick. Romantic Moment, I want my pick 4 ticket off the big improvement the first time on the turf for Shug. I'm also going to use the 10 April 15th, just on the angle that Chris Block at 15-1 hits some prices here and doesn't run a lot, and he gets Le Peru to ride. So just off that angle, I'm going to include the 10. And then the 4 Get Explicit, who ran well here and got written up by the Clockers as well, the Keeneland Clockers. So I'm going to have that one as well. So 5 horses in that leg. I'm just going to take a stand with 2 in the maiden claimer at 7 furlongs. I like Spartacle a lot in there. Stidham does well with newcomers to his barn. He also wins at a 17% rate with maiden claimers. And this horse has a lot of speed, and Jeremy Plonk does the handicapping angles in his column at Keeneland.com, where he looks at trends, and he notes how important speed has been at 7 furlongs at this meet. And I like Spartacle a lot there. I'm going to also include Teletap. I'm not real wild about an 0 for 12 horse, but the buyer figures are just a tick below par for this level. So with so much other uncertainty, I am going to include the Teletap. But coming from off the pace and 0 for 12, I'm not real wild about that one. And then in the last leg, I used Love Nest and CC Rider. I kind of liked about equally. Love Nest goes for Maker, who hits at 20% first time on the turf. And this horse has worked well, and figured Maker's barn's going to heat up at some point. So that one, plus CC Rider, or that 80 buyer in the second start, and Rosario riding. I'm going to include Sportswear for Neil Howard, whose horses often outrun their odds here. Old Guard for Rusty Arnold, who caught some good fields in the 2 races down in Florida. And then Say the Word I would also add if he draws in. I didn't put him on my pick 4 ticket because I stopped at $60, but if you could afford a little more and Say the Word does draw in, then you could include him. And maybe if he draws in, one of the others I picked will have scratched, and it still will cost you $60. So 2, 10, 11 with 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 with 2, 10 with 5, 6, 7, 11, which is a $60 ticket for me. And I could almost be talked into singling Spartacle in that 8th race, and then you could go a little deeper in races 7 and 9, those turf races. I think the deeper you go, the happier you might be. One day of racing left to talk about, and we'll be back to do another edition of this In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.